On this week's episode of the Jesse T Show, the amazing Andrew McKee, co-founder of J. James Maker of Things, also freelance designer. Andrew, great to see you.
Great to see you, man. Thanks for having me.
So it's a pleasure to have you, man. So great to have you and get your story out there. I know that you've done a lot of great things, and I want to share that with the world. You're an amazing human being. You've traveled the world and seen some great things. So I just wanted to get into a little bit about your bio and kind of how you became who you are today. If you want to go back to, I guess, kind of the college and
I would say it has to start with college. Yeah, that's when everything kind of changed. I had a decision to make early on. I only applied for one college, which was SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, which was only in Savannah at the time.
Yep.
Before it exploded all over, Atlanta and everywhere else.
Amazing school.
Amazing school.
Yep.
Yeah. I learned a lot there.
Yep.
Very, very important lessons.
What did you go to school for?
I went to school originally for graphic design.
Yep.
When I got there, I saw all sorts of different things that I could do. So I did photography, sound design, which took all the art out of it. But I was just trying a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I think near the end, when I was like, I don't really know what I should be doing anymore, I was like, I guess I'll give the graphic design a shot, was the original reason why I went.
Sure.
And I loved it. And it just clicked with me.
Creative side, artistic side.
The creative side, the artistic side, just flowed.
It's okay. What did creative look like for you growing up? Were you drawing? Were you doing art?
When I was young, I spent my favorite classes were art class.
Yep.
And I got really big into pointillism.
Okay. What is that?
Pointillism is literally taking, say, a pen and just doing little dots.
Yeah.
Thicker dots, smaller dots, to make a huge image.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes a long time, but I was obsessed with it because I could just sit there and concentrate on it, and it's just a little dot. So if you mess it up,
do you still have that artwork to this day?
I do. I believe so.
We'll put some in the show if you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's weird stuff. It's high school stuff.
We like weird stuff.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. But yeah, I got it really big into that, and my mom kind of saw a talent there, and she grew up as an artist, a musician,
creative as well.
Very creative. Yeah. So she kind of pushed that. Awesome. It was great.
Nurtured that side of you.
Yeah, she really did. I don't know what I would have done without her. She's my rock.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was pointing me in the right direction always.
Yep.
And she kind of knew, I think, when I went there that I was going to try all these different things, that I was going to end up back in graphic design, because I think that she kind of saw that in me.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you so.
A mother always knows.
Yeah,
right?
Mother always knows. So I went to college. I thrived my last 2 years.
Yep.
I goofed off my first two.
I think that's for everybody.
I think so.
The first year or two for most people, unless you're just kind of that rare breed of someone who knows exactly what you want to do and you're going to run with it. I mean, I went to a community college and I changed my focus like 3 or 4 times in a community college, like before I even figured out what I wanted to do.
Right.
By the time I figured out what I wanted to do, I quit and left for the military. So it's like,
Wow. Yeah. You have to make pretty big decisions very young.
Yeah. And you did. You made a huge decision with now from going to Savannah College of Art and Design to having an opportunity to travel the world.
Yes.
You made a decision. You decided to stick with the graphic design, the passion, because the alternative was
I was going to leave. My favorite movie growing up was The Beach.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted my life to be. I just wanted to get on a boat or a train or plane and just leave.
Just take off.
Yeah, and just go with a backpack.
How close were you to getting to that point? Were you pretty close decision-wise?
Yes, I was pretty close twice, actually. Early on, after high school, I really kind of wanted to leave, but I knew that if I did, and I think my mom knows too, I would never have come back.
Yep.
I just would have been one of those wanderers around the world, getting old, telling old stories. But I decided to go to college, which was the best decision I could have made.
Yep.
My education was extremely valuable to me.
And you use it to this day?
I use it to this day.
Yep.
And it's one of those things to where it kind of shaped my future. It's a job that you can do from anywhere.
Yep.
So I realized when I was traveling that all the jobs that I had and all the, everybody that I was working with or for, I could work remotely.
Which is a dream for a lot of people.
Dream,
Not having
yes.
to commute, not having to deal with
Yes,
the issues
it is a dream.
happen with commuting, with traffic and frustration,
Yes.
road rage.
Oh,
Being
yeah.
your own boss in a sense, manage your day as long as you're, meeting goals that you set for yourself and
Right.
that the company has. They usually let you have that autonomy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're that person, and I think that'll bleed into kind of the future of your story, and becoming a founder and becoming freelance and having that independence. But you did take a step into something where you thought it was going to be temporary and became a lot longer.
Yes,
Yeah.
my first job right out of college. Everybody keeps on saying, I was told your first job out of college isn't going to be your career, and it almost kind of was.
Yeah. For most of your adult life.
For most of my adult life, yeah.
Yeah, so far.
It was a 14-year job, which I thought was only going to be like a 3-week job after college.
Yeah.
A lady had contacted me who was painting martini glasses in her basement,
Okay.
basically, and I looked online. I was like, "This is I don't know what this is."
Yeah.
So I was like, "But she needs a logo and a website, so I'm gonna, jump on and see if I can help for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then see where that takes me, and look for, maybe a design job in a design firm, because hand painted martini glasses was not exactly what I thought I was gonna.
Wasn't your calling in your mind?
No,
Yeah.
not my calling in my mind. But it was awesome
Yep.
being a part of it. And
What'd you learn there? What were some of your big...
I learned how to run a business.
Okay.
I learned also how not to run a business. I learned, I became, instead of a designer, more of a director of how the business worked.
Okay.
I took on multiple roles there. We started maybe with I think when I first started there was 24 martini glasses and 6 wine glasses, and now there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Really,
of
it's
glasses.
scaled pretty immensely.
Yeah, we went from just selling in little teeny tiny boutiques to going to Hallmark, then going to all over the world. Really.
Wow, okay.
So it was a really great experience, especially being in there from the ground up and being the first employee.
Yeah.
I don't think that she even knew where she was going to be taking it. I think
Wow.
she had an idea.
So you got to see something grow basically from its infancy
Yeah.
to this bigger, moving forward kind of
Yes,
company.
and I felt like I was in my infancy jumping into this because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to do this.
How did you find each other?
She found me online.
Okay.
I was a part of a website called AIGA,
Yep.
and it was just for freelance designers or just designers in general to show off their work.
Yep.
And I was living in Savannah at the time because I had just graduated, but I lived in Marietta because I wanted to be in Atlanta.
Right.
So
Smart
she,
move.
yeah,
Yeah.
she found me, and she's like, "Can you meet me tomorrow morning?" I was like,
Wow.
"Absolutely."
So she initially brought you on under the, hey, let's do this for 3 weeks.
Well, no, it wasn't in my mind. It was
Yeah.
3 weeks because
Yeah.
I was like, I have student loans that are coming in like a month. I was like,
Right.
I need to get some income coming in, and then I'm gonna move on to the next, or
Yeah.
the bigger thing.
Start to
because
build
to
your
me,
book.
in my mind, it's 24 martini glasses in a basement.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I can necessarily make a career out of that, and I did, and it was fascinating. But after about 14 years of fuchsia and chartreuse on wine glasses,
Yep.
it was time for me to kind of just take my step and kind of jump without a parachute.
Yep.
Which
I love that term. I love when we were talking about that off air. You
Yeah.
talk about jumping without a parachute, but also quit your job
I know.
and then jump without a parachute and go do what you love.
Yeah, I'm probably not a great person to talk to. My wife and I both, because when people come to me and they're talking about their job, or they're like, people say clients come up to me and need logos. They're all needing logos for their own personal business they're starting.
Yep.
Because everybody hates their job, the 9 to 5, going in, clocking in and out for lunch, being,
Micromanaged,
yeah,
told what to
micromanaged.
do. Yeah.
That's not a creative space. I feel like nothing really gets done in
Yep.
things like that. I mean,
Yep.
it does, but it takes
Not at scale.
Yeah.
Like not at a huge, or maybe as such, it could be more impactful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too much red tape
Yep.
to get things done. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yep.
And
Too many initiatives that never get
Right.
fulfilled.
Right.
There's
But-
always something new, and it's never
Yes.
like fleshed out
Yeah.
completely.
No.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, it's time. So I jumped without a parachute. I had
Good for you.
literally
Congrats.
nothing. I had, we had just purchased a house or
Yep.
a condo.
Yep.
My wife and I down in Midtown Atlanta, We weren't necessarily in a spot to be jumping without a parachute, but I did anyways. I decided it was just time, and it was horrifying. It was horrifying.
Yeah, the bills keep coming.
Oh yeah, the bills keep coming.
Yeah.
The first day, or the first like 2 days, I was like, this is great. I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
Day 3, I was like,
the excitement of being your own boss.
Yeah, I was
fleeted quickly.
I was like, okay, well, I gotta do this. I was like, but in my mind, I was terrified.
Yeah.
But after time passed, I realized that I've already done this. I've been doing this. Wasn't my first rodeo.
Yep.
I helped build and start a company before, and I had done that freelance-wise with other companies.
Sure.
So I figured if I could do it forever, other companies, I can definitely do it for myself.
Yep.
So I jumped.
You talked about when you just bought your home, and I wanted, we didn't mention this before we jumped on air, but it just reminded me of how you had a really interesting situation where you were under a microscope, so to speak, and you became famous.
Yes, mini famous.
Yeah.
I believe it was actually a total of 16 minutes of fame.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
that's better than 15.
Sometimes it happens so quickly. I forget that it happened. My wife and I, we ended up having a small time reality TV show filmed about us.
How did they find you, and tell us of the premise of the show and how the actual day-to-day was, and living around with cameras and people and all this stuff?
So it was just a random night that my wife and I went over to my sister-in-law's place with her husband, and he was talking about his friend looking for people. I guess there was a production company in Midtown.
Yep.
And they were starting a show, and they were looking for people who were engaged. We had just gotten married, but Connor, my brother-in-law, was telling us, we would be a perfect fit for what they were looking for. And I asked a few questions, and basically the premise of the show was, yes, we were going to be under a microscope, that my wife and I couldn't leave the house for a month. We both work from home.
Yeah.
Sounded pretty easy to us. We were going to be filmed to do all these little projects here and there. We met some people from the tiny house. It was a total of maybe 4 days of shooting at the beginning of the month, and 4 days of shooting at the end of the month.
Okay.
And in between that time, we just couldn't leave the house.
Wow. Okay.
It was phenomenal.
Yep.
And the reasons being is because the place we were currently living, we had a box in the window to keep us cold.
Okay.
We went into a fully air-conditioned place. It was about 5 times the size of.
So you're talking
our
about a
personal
box. We grew up in Boston, and we had window units,
Window
like
units,
an AC
yes.
window
Yes.
unit. That's what you had, and then you
Yeah.
went from that to central air.
Central air.
So it was amazing.
Washer, dryer.
Yeah.
We had everything. A dishwasher for the first time.
So being stuck, quote unquote, for 30 days was
a dream.
heaven.
Yeah. And it was in the middle of. It was June, July.
Yep.
And it was hot out.
Yep.
We were good.
That was perfect.
We
Now,
can stay inside.
For the viewers, were you doing like I don't know if there was like an Uber Eats or delivery, just like you call your local pizza shop, they deliver pizza. Like how are you getting your groceries, your food, and like were you?
I feel almost guilty saying. We would put an order in. We would send an email out to the production company, and they would bring us everything that we asked for, and it would be very quick.
Yeah.
And when they showed up, it was all Whole Foods stuff. I was like,
so it's quality
This is
stuff.
awesome. Yeah.
They're not just giving you garbage. They're taking. They're almost waiting on you too.
Yes, it was. They called us the talent the entire time.
That's
it was
awesome.
very odd. It was awesome, but
That's awesome.
we came first before everything.
Yep.
It was very, very odd because we're not used to being treated.
Any
like
moments
that.
where like your mind just wasn't in it for like a day or two, or any turmoil, or was it all pretty smooth sailing?
Everything was very smooth except for one day of filming. We were in the middle of. I think we had to build a desk. From one of the creators, or I guess he runs the show, Tiny House.
Yep.
So we were building a desk in a small room with probably about, I would say, 30 people, a bunch of lights.
Yep.
The AC just wasn't doing it that day because the amount of doors that were open from people in the like all the filming.
So it's hot and you're already a little bit on edge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were sweating, and it was starting to get stinky in that room,
Yep.
and we had to just kind of take a break. We had to kind of step to the side.
The talent stepped up.
Yeah, we had to take a step out of the room. It was nice to see everybody else go outside and take a breather. But we
got back
stayed
to
inside.
it.
Yeah.
Now there was like what network was this on? How many episodes? And what was the overall, like, if you could do the 30 days, was there some sort of like incentive or prize?
The prize to do this, if we stayed inside for 30 days, was a $20,000 down payment.
Okay.
For a house.
Awesome.
So we stayed inside the 30 days.
Yeah.
It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my entire life. My wife feels the same. We were very lucky to have been included in that project. But it kind of shaped our future for everything. That show is the reason I met you.
Yeah.
We ended up purchasing a condo downtown, and our neighbor Justin actually introduced us to.
Yeah.
So it opened up a lot of opportunities. We still stay in touch with the production team.
That's awesome.
It's phenomenal.
What network
it was on? Oh my goodness, it's been so long now.
Like HGTV or something, or?
Oh, I'm gonna get slaughtered for this.
No worries, no worries. We'll make sure it's not a big deal. So you did that, and then you really kind of got into, living in your house for 30 days, wanting to go out and quit your job, jump without a parachute, and then you really kind of found your way with your freelance designing and helping people with their brand and their logos, to this point where you had another moment of serendipity that came knocking on your door, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Quite literally, actually. After jumping without a parachute, I would spend a lot of my time in coffee shops working freelance stuff. Even bars. Actually, bars is where my situation works better because people are drinking and want to come up and talk to you a little bit more about more social about what it is they see that you're working on, because a lot of people are in coffee shops answering emails, doing Excel spreadsheets.
Plus, if there's a drink or two happening, it's more social. There's less anxiety of approaching somebody. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes people a little bit more friendly, and they want to come see what I'm doing, because while everybody else is working on Excel spreadsheets, I'm making pretty images or I'm illustrating things, and people want to know what it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or the positive thing from that was that a lot of people are starting their own businesses.
Okay.
So the people that I've met talk to me, they're looking for logos, branding, and literally I've been making a living by going to the bars and talking to just random people, and people coming up to me needing things.
Designing the life that made you happy and where you felt comfortable.
Yeah, and I'm working on projects that I never thought I would have worked on before in my entire life.
That's incredible.
I actually ended up falling into a project, as you said, somebody knocked on my door. My neighbor upstairs, who I briefly knew for maybe about a month, I sold him a mirror the first day I moved in. And he was the first person to respond on the Facebook post and said, I want a mirror. It's really heavy, so I'm not carrying it far, but he lived right upstairs from me. So I met him the first night. We hung out for a few hours. And I knew him for maybe a month or two before he just disappeared. And he went on a 14-month tour, basically around the world by himself.
Wow.
To kind of just explore. And while he did the El Camino Trail.
Okay.
So while
what is that?
He knows a little bit more about it than I do, but I believe it's in Italy.
Okay.
I believe it's in Italy. And it's just an extremely long trail that is very historical. And he found his piece there.
Okay.
On his, travels.
That's
and
incredible.
He did the entire walk. And during that walk, he figured out what he wants to do when he gets back. And when he came back, he knocked on my door and asked if I could help him with the logo. And he wanted to start a clothing brand and kind of like a lifestyle brand. Absolutely. I was like, let's do a logo. So the logo ended up being a tattoo of a teeny tiny skull on his arm, which we illustrated and turned into a lifestyle brand.
And you created that logo.
Yes. Yeah, off the tattoos that he had. There's a handful from our very beginning that I would just take pictures and re-illustrate his tattoos. We ran out of tattoos for me to illustrate, so I was like, okay. And this is just in the beginning. I didn't really know what the plan was until I started seeing him build his own screen printing machine. He got a place at the goat farm, a studio at the goat farm to work at. So
is that here in Atlanta?
It is here in Atlanta. It's on the west side, or right in Midtown.
Nice.
Gorgeous place, but I believe it's been bought, and they're about to do a lot of
something different with it.
Oh yeah, they're about to, just like with everything kind of in Atlanta, everything's turning into like a Pond City Market or
Yeah.
Prague.
There's
So-
one that opened up in Marietta, close to where I live.
Really?
It's Marietta Market.
It's happening around Atlanta a lot. Atlanta is exploding
It is.
so quickly, and the amount of people that I've met that have just moved down here just to act
Yep.
are also starting their own businesses, their jewelry lines, and all sorts of other things.
It's an amazing little hub for founders, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
There's incubators for startups all over the place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creative endeavors, and so this relationship you created with Jeremy, it turned into something huge for you.
Something huge, yeah. It was something that just initially started with a logo design and maybe a T-shirt design, turned into something that I was not expecting, that he had hoped for, and it's kind of nailing it now. So I, on my own, while he was kind of doing his own thing, because it is his baby,
Yep.
and I only did just the beginning stuff to kind of help him. On the side, I decided I wanted to show this on my website. Like, I was really happy about it.
Yeah. As
So
you should be.
I built an entire like kind of brand to
Yeah.
post on my website, and I showed it to him, and I think that that's when it kind of clicked that we should continue to be working with each other.
Awesome.
Because the way that I took it in my mind was exactly kind of what he was thinking
Yeah.
in regards to like the business cards, just the overall branding
Yep.
of the company. So we had larger conversations, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it right now, it just kind of fluidly happened. I just started doing more work for him, and he came and knocked on my door one day and told me he was, leaving for Nicaragua for the J. James company to go down and volunteer and to help out with Helping Hands in Nicaragua.
Okay.
So he had asked me if I wanted to go, and I pulled the trigger. I've never been out of the country at that point, and I just went for it. My passport had some issues with. I got here 4 days before I left.
Nick of time.
Nick of time for
Yeah.
Nicaragua, yeah. So I jumped on a plane not really looking into a whole lot about Nicaragua
Yeah.
because I didn't know what my passport situation was going to be.
You didn't want to get your hopes up to not be able to go.
No, I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So being able to jump on the plane at the last second when my passport did show up and arriving, not knowing what I was walking into, probably was the best decision I've ever made.
So this kind of harkens back to when you were talking about college or traveling
Mhm.
the world. You got a piece of that. You were able to go travel.
Finally.
And,
Yes.
and not knowing, in a sense, this is kind of a cool way to travel. Like not you didn't want to, if you didn't get the passport, you didn't want to get yourself down and out if you
Right.
couldn't go. But you didn't have any other expectations either, and you didn't
No.
know what to expect in terms of landscape, culture.
Right.
So it was almost this really kind of. Wasn't naive the word I'm looking for. It was more like this kind of like adventurous, and like it was wide open. Like
Yes.
just anything that happened was going to be unique because
Yes.
you didn't have this predisposition of what to expect.
Right.
Yeah.
I went down, it was just the both of us, Jeremy and I, and he's kind of like me in regards to, I don't do plans well. If you plan something, everybody gets stressed out about it because there's something everybody has to be at.
Expectations.
Yeah. And then people are waiting on other people,
Yeah.
and I'm not good at waiting around. I like to just jump in the car and go.
Yeah.
And he was like that. The first night we were there, we were walking up a mountain to our place at the top of the mountain, and somebody pulled up, said, "You guys need a ride?" I didn't know who was driving. I was like, "Yes."
Let's do it.
Just jumped into the back of the truck. I was like, "Just take us up." It was an extremely long walk, very steep. Took us all the way up, and it was a guy who jumped out of the car, a little bit younger than us. He's from the States. Went down there on a kind of like what we were doing, just jumping without a parachute.
Yeah.
Went down on a trip and ended up staying down there. And
It's
never
becoming a
leaving.
theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people down there had done that. So it was very, very interesting to see kind of how everybody around all over is starting their own business. But,
Yeah.
So we went down there originally basically to give back.
Okay. So Helping Hands, Nicaragua.
Helping Hands in Nicaragua.
What was the initiative there? And you had mentioned being able to do something with the shirts and give back to the shirts.
Right.
Yep.
So we're designing pocket T-shirts and tanks right now.
Nice.
And it's basically our pattern on a pocket T-shirt.
Yep.
And those sales go to Helping Hands in Nicaragua.
Awesome.
So the main reason we went down there is to kind of go see what we were contributing to.
Yep.
Jeremy, my business partner, he knows a guy that runs a hostel down there
Okay.
who used to intern for him.
Yep.
and he's very big on community. It's called Ola Ola.
Yep.
It's an amazing place. And I plan to go back actually very soon and take my wife.
That's awesome.
He's very big on community, and actually everybody there is extremely big on community and helping out each other, and even helping out tourists.
Makes for an amazing trip.
It makes for an amazing trip. Everybody's helping everybody. I mean, the guy that helped us up the mountain, he ended up taking care of us because he ran a bar. He's like, come to my bar. Like, it was just meeting people.
The $1.30 beers.
Yeah. Everything was extremely cheap. We were jumping literally on the back of like forerunners and holding on for dear life, going up to mountains because
being a kid again.
Yeah. It was great. It was extremely dangerous, but that's what made it fun. And I told the stories later on after I got home, to my wife of what I was actually doing up there. But it was an amazing life-changing experience.
And you were able to, in one of the, because there's almost like a bartering system there, and it's goodwill.
Yeah.
So if someone can help you, they will.
Yeah.
And if you have something of value to exchange, and you were giving out shirts to people.
We were. Yes.
So in a way, I mean, this was goodwill, and this was how you traded, but it was also a really kind of unique way of branding to where it led to another opportunity within.
Right.
Yeah.
So we made the Nicaragua trip a handful of things. We went down there with iPhones.
Yep.
Products to give out to people that were helping us, to people that were going to model for us.
Yeah.
We ended up running into a woman named Anki, who helped us out big time. She ended up traveling with my two other travel mates once I got home, and they did a photo shoot, and from that photo shoot we built a website just from iPhones, people that we've met, and our main goal going down there was to kind of bring awareness to the Helping Hands. So the best story from that whole thing was our goal was actually kind of met in a way. Giving out the T-shirts, we gave T-shirts to Anki, our model, who ended up going back to Nicaragua and saw another person there from Ola Ola, the hostel, and wearing the same T-shirt.
Wow.
At a different bar, like at a random bar.
Yeah.
And she went over and introduced herself, and what we went down there to have happened. She ended up going and staying at the hostel that our friend was running, and she was there doing yoga with Helping Hands.
Wow.
Teaching them English.
Yeah.
So she was staying there, volunteering, living there. I believe she was living there for free, because if you volunteer your time, you have a place to stay.
Wow, that's incredible.
So she was living there, volunteering her time, helping the same kids that we went down there to help.
Wow. Everything came full circle.
It came full circle.
From that one trip.
From the one trip, and it happened within just a few weeks. So
it's incredible.
That story alone, like having somebody go help out just from a random introduction to somebody that we wouldn't have normally spoke to, it was just
it's amazing to show you what, if you follow your passion, if you have blind faith, yes, it could be scary, yes, it could be, jumping without a parachute. They say that that's how entrepreneurs are made, because they figure out how to build a parachute on the way down.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've heard entrepreneurs are people that jump off a mountain without a parachute, and then they're forced, it's fight or flight.
Yeah, it really is.
So in that vein, though, there's a lot of a servant's heart from what you're saying and how you handle clients. And I'm a client of yours, for those who don't know. Andrew has helped me on a couple projects. So with the Jesse T Show, he's worked on the actual logo for the Jesse T Show, so that you see that Jesse T Show almost kind of spray paint. Harkens back to my days when I was tagging in the mean streets of Boston, writing graffiti on the wall. So that Jesse T Show logo comes from Andrew. Also, he's working on projects for me right now with my next financial planning company, 46&2 Wealth Partners, and he's doing a lot of things there. So he's becoming a consultant. He's become, we're friends outside of that, and so he has this passion to help, and he has this ability to be able to deliver. And so there's another part where you do that, where you have there's some people in the Atlanta area that you want to give back to. Some kids, like growing up when you were trying to get your foot in the door.
Yes.
There were people that helped you or wished that you had helped you.
Yes.
And you're doing that to help people. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. So when I was younger, when I realized I kind of wanted to branch out from the job I had, it was around 2008, which wasn't a great year for a lot of people.
One of the toughest years to do that.
The job industry kind of went.
It did.
So I was in Savannah for a little while, continuing the current job I had, which I loved and very much enjoyed. But sorry,
Yeah.
brain fart.
That's okay.
Where were we going?
We were talking about helping the people that didn't have the.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like kids locally that you try to get back to.
So, it was very hard at that time, and being in Savannah, back in Savannah, there was a lot of younger kids. At art school, there wasn't really somebody that was my age. They'd graduated and kind of stayed there.
Yeah.
So everybody had gone. Savannah's kind of like almost a retirement community.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a beach town.
Yeah. So I needed to be in a much bigger place. So moving back, when we finally got the opportunity to move back and move downtown, a lot of the people that I've met going out and working at the bars, people have come up to me and kind of asked, what it is I'm doing and how I can possibly help them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of logo requests, a lot of consulting,
Yeah.
and when I was younger, I really wish somebody would have just kind of helped me here and there within the design industry,
Yeah.
trying to start my own thing. And I guess looking back at it, I didn't realize how much I needed just somebody there.
A guiding light.
Yes,
Yeah.
because basically everything was handed to me, and I had to figure out how to run a company. I had to figure out how to put lines together, and there was nobody to kind of help me along the way. It was,
So you want to
figure
be
it out.
that person for other people.
Yeah,
Whether it's you show them one or two things, or they potentially become a client, or however that works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I can help in any way, that's really what I want to do with my life. I always wanted to help other people out, and this is my way of being able to do that. So I do help out around Atlanta with kids trying to start their own businesses, or kids trying to start their own websites,
Yep.
just sell whatever it is that they're selling. A lot of it's actually jewelry. I've done a handful of jewelry jobs and barbershops. But it's these smaller companies that they're just trying to get a logo.
Yeah,
they're trying to get some
trying to get an identity going.
Yeah, and they're starting with nothing.
Yep.
They're trying to get out of their current corporate jobs, and that's when I really kicked in, quit your job.
Jump without a parachute.
Yeah, I was like, jump without a parachute. I'm probably, again, like I said, not the greatest person to talk to about that, because I'm telling everybody, quit your job.
Good for you. There needs to be that vernacular, because we've been told kind of this is how you start your life. You're conditioned in school to punch a time clock, essentially go in at a certain time, leave at a certain time. You have a authoritarian figure standing in front of you telling you how to work and live, and they get you ready for the workforce. This is how the Industrial Revolution was supported back in the day, was they were building people to work in factories by starting them off in a factory setting in school. And so now this whole concept that people are breaking away from that, and conversations like us, founders of companies, are having, this is where the world's going, and you can do it. And so there's people in schools, and this is a whole conversation that can be an hour long of schools are failing kids at so many levels. Unless you go for a specific specialty, and it even took you a couple of years to figure out what you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
You're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a lot of times you're just getting a receipt at the end of 4 years saying that you attended.
Yeah.
It's not really going to help you get a job, right? And you have these teachers that are probably great people, but there's also this issue where there are people making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year that have never been an entrepreneur or scaled a successful company, teaching you business 101 when they shouldn't be, because they've learned it out of a book.
Right.
So I think that your conversation needs to be had, and you need to spread that.
Yeah.
Spread it like a virus, dude.
Yeah.
Let that shit go viral, and like get it out there, because it takes one conversation to have, just like that one T-shirt you gave away, and it changed someone's whole trajectory of how they were living their life.
Yeah.
Keep it up, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I would definitely. So just changing gears, we're both huge self-described nerds.
Yes.
We're really big into reading and comic books and self-discovery, and so just touching on that, anything you're reading in, or also like the comic book kind of passion that you've fallen into or reignited recently.
Yes, this is a recent thing. We talked briefly before we started filming. I was an outside kid growing up. I was just an outside child, and now I'm just a inside man child now.
Love it.
I didn't really read comic books. I didn't really even read a whole lot of books growing up.
Yeah.
It just really wasn't my thing.
Because you're outside doing stuff.
Outside doing stuff.
That's how I was.
Bikes, you know, rollerblades, that was my life.
Running through neighborhoods, we used to play Manhunt. It was like
flashlight tag.
Yeah, same thing.
Everything was outside. I went inside for Adult Swim swimming.
Yeah.
To play 15 minutes of Mortal Kombat, and then I'd run back to the pool. Like,
Yep.
that was my inside
We all
time.
grew up that way
Yeah.
in our era.
Yeah.
I think there was nights where when the play was over outside, one of your best friends or a group of friends, like we would have like sleepovers.
Yeah.
We would go the wee hours of the morning playing like Mario Kart,
Right, yes.
or something on
Yeah.
Nintendo, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you'd go out the next day and you'd
You're
get some
outside.
fresh air and play for hours
Yeah.
and hours and hours and
Right.
hours, and then you do it all over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now it's the opposite for me. I love going outside. I'm still very much an outside person. I love to travel. But I've become kind of almost like an extroverted introvert
Sure.
in my later years. And I've become a nerd. And it all started from Iron Man, the movie in 2008. I absolutely loved it, and I know you're a huge fan too.
I am.
And I think I've kind of got my wife a little bit addicted to the MCU.
Through osmosis, like it's just right there.
Yeah, and it sounds like after this past week, the conversation that was had, it sounds like mother-in-law might be a huge fan too.
Look at you,
Yeah,
converting
yeah,
everyone.
Yeah, I'm just like a virus. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've started to really just kind of read comic books.
Yep.
I really liked the stories that were in the movies. So I was like,
What have you been into? The comics, like graphic novels? or
graphic novels,
certain
actually. I
characters?
started off with the Avengers,
Yep.
just because I was a huge Avengers fan from the movies. I was like, well, these are great stories, but what are all the other stories? So it's really been the past, I would say, 6 months that I've really gotten into that. Before that, I was just kind of reading a lot of design books
Yep.
and nerding out in that way.
Yeah.
So, and actually I've started to take up real reading and reading kind of nonfiction type of.
What have you been reading here and there on the nonfiction side?
On the nonfiction, I've been reading, I think it was my favorite book, I believe it was nonfiction. It was 1,000 Splendid Suns.
Okay.
It was the first book I picked up in
What
years.
is that about?
It's about life in the Middle East.
Okay.
Back many years ago,
Sure.
when things weren't great. It's not
Right.
great there still, but
a lot harsher.
it's just a story of a young girl who kind of loses everything and falls
Yep.
into keeps on falling into like a situation to where she knows she doesn't want to be in,
Yep.
and trying to make the best of it. It's a very deep story, and it changed my view on reading.
Really?
Yeah, I read that probably within like 3 days.
Really?
It was the first book I picked up since like Island of the Blue Dolphins from
Wow.
middle school.
Wow.
Yeah, because some of those stories, in high school, like I didn't care about. Like I was like, this is kind of a boring story.
It's just forced
Yeah, it's
curriculum.
forced stuff. Yeah, and before that, I actually did like reading, and it kind of turned me. Honestly, I feel bad saying this. High school kind of turned me away from reading because
Yeah.
we were just kind of given junk.
Yep.
For the most part, in my personal opinion. But branching out and like kind of reading books that I've never heard of before, kind of brought me back into it and
Piqued your interest again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of changed since that book how I live my life. It's a lot of reading now. I've become an inside nerd.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Read.
So when you think about the future of what you're doing, and I know that planning isn't a huge thing, but just like I guess the kind of the malleable future, kind of what you see happening with freelance design work and with co-founding J. James, Maker of Things, where are those things taking you? Like, where would you like to see them? Is it more travel around the world, going
It's
back to
more
Nicaragua?
travel.
What would you like to see from there?
From this, what I'm basically trying to do now is I want to travel.
Yeah.
I want to see cultures. I want to take the road that I didn't take.
Yep.
Many years back when I decided to go get an education, which I will not regret ever.
For sure.
I'm very proud of that education. I learned a lot that got me here. But now that it's gotten me here, it's time to go travel the world and be inspired. We went,
Inspire others.
And inspire others, yeah.
Yep.
Going down to Nicaragua, I came back with so many ideas. Ideas that just a flood of ideas that I hadn't felt in quite some time, and I came back and just started knocking stuff out. I had a lot of passion, being inside, even working at a bar and just being behind the computer nonstop. It can be kind of draining. So
Yeah.
being able to for the first
It
time,
gets stale. Yeah.
yeah, putting my computer away and actually just going out and just seeing what's around and taking pictures and being part of the culture. I want to continue doing that.
That's awesome.
So I want to, travel the world. I think Singapore is another place I'd like to go. Philippines. I don't necessarily want to go to the resorts.
You want to go and experience the real culture.
Yeah, I want to see how it really is.
Yeah.
I want to get that experience. Whether I'm sleeping on the ground that night, that sounds awesome to me.
awesome.
You know, in a field.
Running up a hill on the side of a forerunner, hanging on for dear life.
Yeah,
that's living.
That's fun to me. That's my outside kid being like, all right, whenever it's outside, you can have fun out there. But yeah, I want to continue doing that, meeting people, bringing people together, experiencing life.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's,
and so,
that's my goal.
If people want to get in touch with you for what you do with your design work, or follow you like on Instagram, do you have an Instagram handle? Do you have a website?
I do.
You want to share it with
my Instagram handle is Andrew_McKee, MCKEE_design. My website is andrewmckee.net. Please check it out, and I would love for you to check out J James. It's jjamesmaker.com, and it is also jjamesmaker, the Instagram handle.
There you go.
That's it.
I'll be sure to have that somewhere in the episode. You can connect with Andrew. He's an amazing talent, amazing human being. Get at him as soon as you can on any of his website or Instagram handles and check him out. For this episode of the Jesse T Show, I am Jesse Tedisco. That is Andrew McKee. Check us out next week for our newest episode. Take care.